setup day in Atlanta, and we are so excited to see the space. We have so many products to showcase, including a bunch of unreleased products, so we're ready to get to work. So Jordan, Kat, and Hannah are going back to the car to grab our flooring, which is like foam tiles. And then Melanie and Lauren are unloading the car, but like I have no idea how that process works, so best of luck to them. And then I am going back to the booth and gonna get the seams between our walls taped so that it looks a little bit cleaner and more of like a solid wall. We're on the 5th floor, and our booth is 1015. They have signs that clearly mark all the aisles, which is really nice. I mean, obviously, this is not their first rodeo, but you never know what to expect, so I'm glad this has been pretty easy to navigate so far. We get some of our bags from them for Mill and Meadow. This is the Paper Baristas booth. They're right next to us. And shout out to Isabella. I've been following her forever. Her booth is looking stunning. And here is our booth. Looking good. So this is like the seam taping that will happen to cover that up so it looks a little bit nicer. We're not painting or putting anything on the wall of the booth, but hopefully with all the product and the shelves up here, it'll stand out a little bit. I'm excited to see this whole place decked out tomorrow. Everything's gonna be like all set up and pretty, and that's gonna be really fun, I think. So we're getting all of our stuff just like carried in on a cart from the back of our van, but a lot of people ship pallets of their booth setup. And I'm considering that in the future just to make it easier, because it would be nice to walk up and have all of our stuff already here. Instead, we opted to drive all of our own setup down to Atlanta, so we needed to coordinate drop-off with the trade show and its company, Fern. The morning of the setup, Lauren and Melanie drove to the company premise off-site and got paperwork they needed, then drove back downtown to the loading docks at AmericasMart. We were surprised to find out that they weren't in the same spot, so always make sure you check the addresses first. At the docks, the AmericasMart team met us and helped unload the car onto a cart, and then they took it up to our booth on floor 5 for us, which was super nice. And then Melanie and Lauren went to go park.
Okay, so that was actually not as hard as I think we thought it was going to be. A little confusing, but everybody was super helpful. So, time to go park, get badges, and get everything set up.
And stop, like,
and coffee.
Seeing all of Atlanta.
Yes, we've kind of toured Atlanta a couple times now, but it's okay. Time for coffee. Stat.
Welcome back. We just got the table delivered, so things are coming together. The section that our booth was in on the AmericasMart floor meant that we had to have hard walls instead of like the drapery cloth that is standard for these trade show booths, and we also had to have flooring of some kind. So I paid for the hard walls, and then we bought foam tiles from AmericanFloorMats.com. And it's printed to look like faux wood, and they're super, super light, and they're nice to stand on since you're standing for really long days. But it was also so easy to set up. Like, it was super, super nice to set those up. It took me 19 minutes flat on my own, and it was pretty fun too because they fit together like puzzle pieces. I just set up the floor. It took like 20 minutes flat, super easy. And our stuff got delivered by the show company, so coming along. After I set up the floors, we had our delivery of all of the stuff that we had brought in our van. And so we went straight into building the shelves, and these were not the shelves that I had originally planned on, unfortunately, but they ended up working out really well. I did have to pay for the hard walls so we could drill these shelves into the wall since they connect at the top to stay stable. But I think they just really ended up looking nice and were perfect like height for all of our items so that people could still see even the top shelf. And something that is super good to know that I didn't quite realize when I first started doing these is you really need to bring all of the tools that you need to set up your booth with you. We wouldn't have been able to set up the shelves and the whole booth if we didn't have that toolkit. Another thing we brought with us was wall decals for our branding. So I actually thought I was going to put the Elise brand decal in the middle center of the booth, but I ordered the decals before I knew the shelves have to be switched. So it was just like really tiny. So I ended up putting the Elise brand on the side wall and doing the just EB logo in the middle center. And I think it looked really good. And then it was Jordan's idea to put the little like words that say planner, stationery, accessories, gifting underneath that. And so I just really love how that all turned out.
Last chance.
Yeah, first time.
The B is where it is. So.
Something that's really good to know if you haven't been to a trade show before is that pretty much everybody puts their booth number on the wall, on like the side wall of their booth, so that if someone's looking down the aisles, they can see the numbers if they wanted to find us again and come back later on in the show. And I think that's just like a really crucial small thing you can do to improve your booth and improve your show experience. Once the shelves and the decals and the floor were done, we put all of our products on the shelves. So I had planned this out in my sketch ahead of time, but not like specifically which product was going where necessarily. So that was something we eyeballed once we were at the show and made some changes to. Generally speaking, we brought one of every product because I kind of think of our trade show booth as a real life catalog. So obviously our buyers can go through a catalog digitally or on paper and see every product we have, but they can't necessarily like touch and feel it. And that's kind of the point of the trade show booth. So I tried to bring one of basically everything. We couldn't fit every single product in the booth, but I generally stuck to like all of our planner cover prints in each product, and then especially highlighted our best sellers, which is mainly pressed floral, rainbow garden, primrose petals, sunny poppy, and waterfall floral. So those are the products that I generally decided to bring and tried to feature the most prominently. Something that we did that I think is a little bit unconventional with our booth setup is we did have a 6-foot table in the front of our booth. And I think conventionally it's thought of like that you shouldn't have anything blocking people from entering your booth. But I think having the table out front was actually crucial for our show. I think it was super beneficial because on our back wall, we had our logo. It said the first word underneath the logo was planners and stationery. Then below that were all of our planner covers. And then the next row was a bunch of books. So if you just looked at our back wall, you would have seen, oh, it's a planner company. And if you're a buyer, you might not be interested in planners, even if you have a stationery gifting company or you buy stickers. And so if they just saw the back wall and didn't see the front table, they would think, oh, this company's not for me, it's just planners. And we are so much more than planners. That's just also a bestseller for us. And so it was super helpful to have our table out in front so that we could direct people's eyes to that, and then they'd see, oh, they have lots of fun gifts, keychains, wallets, stickers, all of that fun stuff, like our scrunchies. So that was really nice. The front table was like super, super crucial to our show experience. What questions do you have about setting up at a trade show? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to see more trade show content, including what it's like to show and shop at the Atlanta market. Those parts are coming up soon, so keep an eye out on my channel.